Okay, today we are going to add the vertical lines for the aquarium wall, the glass, the seams between the glass, that's what we're adding today. And then this kind of arched rainbow curved line for that dome of the hallway that the aquarium is going through. So we need to make sure that these are vertical. Vertical means they're standing up tall, not diagonal, not kind of crooked. You need to make sure they're straight up and down. And you're going to start on this first row of checkerboards, and then you're going to make your lines every 2 sections. Actually, I think that's every 3. I skipped one right here. But keep them so they're evenly spaced, so then you won't have to worry about having them too close or too far apart. Now, you're using your ruler, so you're going to not measure with your ruler. You're using the flat side of your ruler to create, basically to trace back over this initial X that we did at the very beginning. I'm going to trace over that. Hold your ruler in the middle, adjust your ruler with your hands so that you get that flat edge lined up with the pencil. And then take your Sharpie. Since we're using Sharpies, make sure you line it up perfectly. Now I'm going to start right here on this first horizontal line that I created. I'm going to make my vertical line. So I'm going to look. This flat edge is what I'm looking at to make sure it's lined up vertically. If it's like that, it's not vertical. If it's like that, it's not vertical. I want to make sure it's vertical, and I want to only draw my line from the ground, from where the checkerboard floor starts, to where this diagonal line is. So I'm going to pay close attention to what I'm doing. All right, now I'm going to move my ruler back, and so this is the second square and the third square, so now I'm going to line it up right here. So I have these 2 squares here, making sure that this is vertical. If it's even just a little bit slightly diagonal, it's not going to look quite right. Make sure it's vertical. Draw your line. 2 squares back. Make sure it's vertical. Draw your line. Okay, so now I think I'm going to stop right there. 1, 2, 3, 4. I have 5 lines. I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. I think I'm going to turn my paper because I like holding my ruler with my left hand. It's more comfortable for me, so I've got to adjust my paper. Now I'm just looking at this flat straight side and the side of my paper, making sure that I'm only stopping at that line. I'm going to move it back. This is the second square, lining up. Moving this back. Okay, now I'm getting confused. So now I've got to look and see. These line up. I've got to line up these 2. I've got one more. Okay, so now I've got to connect these top lines. I think I'm going to start right here in the middle.
This is Newell. Can you call the office, please? Newell, call the office.
I'm going to start right here. I'm going to connect with an arched line these 2. And I'm going to go to the next 2. I'm going to connect with an arched line those 2. I'm going to go to these 2. I'm going to connect with an arched line those. Now it gets a little bit harder the farther out you get because you want to keep that arch the same. So I'm connecting my arch. Kind of keep my hand in one position and then just pivot my hand around. And then you're going to draw your lines straight through your fish so that you don't, so you have your fish behind your lines. And then the last one, you're going to actually use your Sharpie and it'll go off the paper and then it'll connect back on the side like you don't see all of it. And then you're finished.